California, we're watching your six, folks. Stay ready, stay free. And when the world goes crazy, what should we do? Drink up, sing it fast. It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show. Two voices you ought to know. From prepping tips to politics, they tell it straight. No tricks from Dixie to the Golden Coast. Freedom's what they love the most. Download the podcast, let the truth roll on the Denton and Sasquatch Show. This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it!
Hello and welcome once again to the Denton and Sasquatch Show, coming to you live from both California and Alabama. My name is Sasquatch. I live in California. His name is Denton. He lives in Alabama. And somehow, through the miracle we call the internet, we make it sound like we're in the exact same room. Once again, Denton will not be here this week. He's still dealing with some family issues. But I do have a co-host this week. And I'm very happy to have him. We'll call him Einor.
Hey, y'all, how you doing?
That is my good friend Einor, and he's going to be doing the show with us. And he's kind of doing dual roles. He's going to be co-host, and he's going to be interviewed because he is a homesteader. And I thought, when I got the opportunity, I thought, you know what, this would be kind of cool for all those people that either are thinking about it or just curious about it or are right in the middle of it, to listen to somebody that's been homesteading for a while. So we're going to have him on as both a guest and an interview. So I think we're going to start off. Well, you know what? Real quick, if you want to get a hold of the show, you can always do so. It is dentonandsasshow@gmail.com. And, of course, again, there will be a YouTube video of the show. Hopefully I have it up tonight, but if not, it'll be up tomorrow.
Well, before we get into this, can I just have one moment here to just kind of absorb the magnitude of this whole situation? I mean, this is really amazing. You guys feel like this every week? You guys have this feeling of power going through you every week? This is amazing.
I don't know if I would call it that, but
I'm just absorbing the gravity of all of it, you know?
I don't know. Maybe we've done it for so long that we don't even think about it anymore. We've just become numb to it.
Okay, well, with that.
And, of course, you know, right when I start doing the show, everybody decides they need to text me. All right, let's get into it. Homesteading. You are the man. You've been doing it for how many years now?
We moved down here about 9 years ago, so I would say spent a couple of years building a house and doing all that nonsense. So where we're actually trying to work the land and stuff, I would say 6-7 years now, probably.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell people where you're from and what state you're in now?
Yeah, well, state of confusion, really. But initially, I started off in Minnesota, suburban subdivision, basically, and moved down here to very rural southeast Arizona. I'm about equal distance from the Mexico international border and the New Mexico state line. So probably about, 30, 40 miles from each of those. Out in the middle of the mountains, literally in the middle of nowhere. I live surrounded by cattle ranch.
Oh, that ought to smell good.
It's wonderful. Smells like money.
So I've known you for quite a few years, and I don't think I've ever asked you this. What made you decide to do this, to leave Minnesota and go to Arizona to homestead?
Well, we hated Minnesota. We were leaving Minnesota no matter what. And, taxes and just the culture up there just didn't fit either one of us, and we hated it. Um, we were initially looking at a couple of places. We were initially looking at West Virginia as one, and then we were looking at West Texas was another possibility. And then we were kind of searching around all over. My wife grew up in Montana, so she knew all about that. So we were just kind of searching around and came here on a vacation one year. And I just absolutely fell in love with the desert. My wife took a couple more years to come around to my way of thinking, but eventually she did. And then when the bottom fell out of the housing market back in '08 and '09, we were able to pick up 6.5 acres of land pretty cheap, and the following year I drilled a well, and the plan was to stay up in Minnesota until I retired. But about 9 years ago, like I say, we were sitting there at the coffee table one morning, and it was mid-February about. And it was one of those weeks, I don't know, for any of you guys up in the Northland, you know what I'm talking about. It had been gray for 4 or 5 months at this time, hadn't seen the sun in 4 or 5 months. And the high for that week was predicted like 5 below, and some ridiculous 20 below, 25 below nighttime temperatures. And my wife looked at me and I looked at her, and both of us said to each other simultaneously, I can't do this anymore. And so we put the house on the market, sold it, and moved down here. And, I'm a computer nerd, so all I needed was an internet connection and an airport, and I've got both here. So here I sit.
Are you still doing that, or are you officially retired?
Boy, that's a loaded question. Yes, I am still officially working, but I guess I would put my status as semi-retired.
All right.
The economy hit pretty hard in the tech industry, and so contracts started drying up and stuff here about a year and a half or so ago, and I've not really worked to replace them. So I work probably, I don't know, 5, 6 days a month maybe. So yes, technically I am still working, but no, I'm really not working that hard. So
Speaking of tech, what do you think all of this AI stuff?
I think, honestly, I think we are right now with AI where we were with the internet in early 2000. The entire industry is due to blow up, and the AI bubble is going to pop, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and a lot of companies are going to go out of business. And for the computer industry and the folks that are making their living as data scientists, although it might not seem like it right now, 5 years from now, this is going to be a good thing, because a lot of the way that we are using AI today is not optimal. It's not, and we've got a lot of companies that are out there, employing it for tasks that it really shouldn't be employed for. And so those need to blow up and go away.
Yeah, like social media.
I'm sorry?
Said like social media.
Like social media, yeah. And I think once we get past that in a couple of years, we'll be on a much more grounded footing, and it will come along and we'll do amazing things. It's never going to be a panacea, but I also don't think that we are in line for the Terminator.
That's what I always say. I welcome our mechanical overlords.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't do any worse than our human ones, could they?
That's true. All right, back to the homesteading. So what would you say is probably the hardest thing about homesteading that you thought was going to be easy?
The planning and organization. The one thing that, we went into this kind of the way that most people do, that we wanted to raise animals and we wanted to do this and we wanted to have the garden and the orchard and the this and the that and the other thing. And we didn't really realize that with just the two of us, there just simply weren't enough hours in the day to do everything we thought we were going to do. It wouldn't have been possible. And so what we had to do was kind of take a step back after the first year or two. And fortunately, I married a woman who is extremely organized because I'm extremely disorganized. And we were able to kind of fit the pieces together, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, really, to get the most efficiency of both our time and our financial resources that we could. And I think we've got that. I won't say we've got it perfect yet, but we're a damn sight better than we were when we started.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I would hate to see you go broke.
Well, partially that and just the efficiency of the time,
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we did think about early on, and I'm thankful for it, was how, when we decided to raise a beef, that was our first major food animal that we decided to raise to eat. We got a beef from the cattle rancher near us and raised it. And we had figured out that, okay, the beef makes a lot of manure, and manure is really good fertilizer, so let's save the manure. And, those types of things, and how can we fit these pieces together so each different piece that we bring into this can somehow provide more benefit than just that one piece alone. In the case of the beef, we get to eat the beef, but then we also get the manure to raise the gardens and to do, put around the fruit trees and all of that. And that, once we kind of figured that out and figured out how all those pieces fit into place, that helped a great deal.
Yeah, I am by no means a homesteader. I have a little piece of property, and we got the goats and the chickens and the ducks. But yeah, it's one of the things I've learned too is that you can use the manure, put them around your trees, the eggshells, you can use those in your soil.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, as an example, we just had to clean out the chicken shack here. Was it last Monday? And took all the chips. My wife puts pine chips in there. Loaded up all the pine chips and brought them over to the pig pen. And dumped them into the pig pen. The pigs just love the pine chips, and they don't seem to mind the chicken manure, so okay, whatever. And so that, just things like that, and how can you get double duty out of a lot of this stuff?
Yeah, for sure. You were telling me a story the other day about the pigs being little and then the pigs getting big. Can you kind of tell that story again, maybe a shortened version of it?
Oh, good Lord, yeah. We got pigs here about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago for the first time. This is our first time raising pigs. Didn't know anything about pigs. And so we had built a pen for them, and I had built a shelter that they could get in and out of the cold and the rain and whatever. So we had all that and had the water set up and had the food all set up and all that. And we got the pigs, and the pigs were maybe 15, 20 pounds a piece. I mean, they were real little guys, not much bigger than a puppy if you get a normal-sized puppy. And put the pigs in the pig pen, and they lasted in there for about, 15 minutes and jumped right through the fence. The squares on the fence were too small, too big for them. And so we ended up for about the first 2 weeks that we had them, they were just roaming free in the yard, free to go wherever they wanted. And they would go in at night and sleep in the chicken shack with the egg chickens. And oh, it was just a crazy situation. But one thing with pigs is they grow really, really fast. I didn't realize how fast they grow. And I mean, in the 2.5 months that we've owned them, they're already up around probably 60 pounds, 70 pounds. At any rate, they're big enough that they can be held in their pen okay. But they're still young animals and they're still really hyper. Like, think of a really high-strung dog. And so we go in there to feed them in the mornings, and it takes two people to feed them because if you try and open the gate, they will just shoot out like a rocket. And once they get out in the yard, you ain't getting them back in unless they want to go back in. And so you're better off just standing there and watching them run around the yard for a half an hour until they tire themselves out and eventually go back in to eat. Yeah, so you go in there and we both kind of skinny through the gate without letting them out. And then they're just so hyper to get their food in the morning. They're knocking us over. And, we come in, we're both covered in mud just from being manhandled by these two pigs. It's just a crazy, crazy thing. But by the same token, I will say that they are probably my favorite animal to raise so far. They certainly have more personality than a steer or turkey or chicken or whatever. And they are fun to raise, but good Lord.
Well, they're smart too, right?
Dangerously smart.
You know what? Goats are smart too. When we first got the goats, we had them in a smaller sort of pen because I had planned on building a bigger one, and the goat would always watch me, and I'm thinking, why is he just always watching me? Well, we had like a chain link fence, and all I put in it was an S hook because I figured, they can't lift that. So one day I come out of there, I put the S hook on, I turn around and start walking away, and I hear, chain link rattling. I turn around and look. He has taken the S hook in his mouth and spit it on the ground and lifted up the latch. And I thought there is no way he just did that. So I put the S hook back on and I watched him. And he went right back over to it, put it in his mouth, wiggled it around, pulled it out, lifted the latch. I'm like, are you kidding me that he just did that?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. We had my wife got two donkeys. They're just accent donkeys. They don't do anything, just take up space and take up money to feed them. But they're out in the pasture where we put the steer. And those damn donkeys have figured out how to open the gates. We've had to put carabiner hooks with a chain around all of the gates because otherwise if you just use the chain that comes with the gate, when you buy the gate from Tractor Supply, it comes with a chain on it. And if you just use that, I mean, it'll hold them for about 30 seconds and that's it.
Yeah. Well, they are earning their keep because they'll kill mountain lions and rattlesnakes, right?
Oh yeah. They keep the rattlesnakes away. They keep the coyotes away. We did have one mountain lion that didn't get into the pasture, but came up along the back fence. We've got, our property is on the flats, but it butts up against a small mountain range. Mm-hmm. And so the mountain lion came down out of there and came up against the back fence, and the donkeys got over and got between it and the steer. And so, yeah, they I guess they have value, but mostly they just keep my wife happy. So,
hey, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, happy wife, happy life, that kind of thing, I guess.
So what would you say is either, well, you can tell both if you want, but your biggest tragedy since you started this and your biggest triumph?
Probably the biggest tragedy. Well, we've lost some dogs, which is always heartbreaking. And then we had to my wife originally got two donkeys, and they were wild donkeys. One came from Texas and the other California. And the Texas donkey, Juliet, we called her, she got some kind of an infection on her legs and had all these real nasty open sores on her legs and stuff. So we had to put her down. That was pretty tough.
All right. How about not tragedies, successes?
Um, I would say probably, it's one of those things every time you go and butcher a steer or we do 2 batches of meat chickens every year. And when you get done cleaning those, I expect it'll be the same with the pigs. We started raising turkeys here a couple of years ago, and you get done and you're actually sitting down to dinner and eating a meal that was raised pretty much completely on your property. And that's very satisfying.
I always get excited when I just pull vegetables out of my garden. So I can imagine you guys.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And we planted the fruit trees long enough ago now that they are starting to deliver fruit. And I mean, that's always a victory. And, my wife always, does grow some watermelons and cantaloupes and that kind of stuff. They haven't figured out potatoes. I know they grow here. There's a big potato processing plant not too far from where we live, so they do grow here. Just we haven't been able to figure them out.
Did you try the box method or just planting them?
We've tried several different methods. We tried the one where you buy they're actually made for potatoes. They're like a canvas bag. They sell them on Amazon. And we tried that first, and I think we got a total of 6 potatoes out of that, out of, I don't know, a dozen plants or something. And then my wife was studying up, and somebody around here was saying that they raised them in old tractor tires. So we got a few old tractor tires and tried that, and that didn't work very well. And so we just have not had success with potatoes for some reason.
Well, I'm the same with watermelons. I keep planting them, and they never grow.
Yeah, now the watermelons, man, we could grow those. Yeah, I get sick of the damn watermelons in the summertime because they all come due at the same time,
Yeah.
And so we'll get watermelons, and you get 20 or 30 of them. What are you going to do with 30 watermelons? There's only 2 of us.
Yeah, exactly. I had a cantaloupe last year, and the damn rats came and ate not just the cantaloupe, but the plants too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had the brilliant idea, God, this is about 4 or 5 years ago now, because we were having some problems with some kind of worm. They're a grub worm looking thing that go in and eat the roots of all of our plants in the garden. Mm-hmm. We were having a problem with those, and my wife discovered that guinea hens will eat these grub worms, and they won't eat the produce in the garden. Oh, okay. So we get the guinea hens and turn the guinea hens loose, and yeah, they did take care of the worm problem. And they also did a pretty good job with flies and stuff as well, which is another problem here. But the problem with them is once they get to be adults, they also get really hostile and they get really mean. And so they were going after the chickens, and that just wasn't going to fly with my wife. So because the egg chickens are basically her pets, and so the guinea hens went off to meet God.
Well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys live out away from pretty much everything. Do you ever have? I'm talking about the humankind here, like predators come around. Have you ever had any issues with people?
Yes and no. The valley that we live in is not really heavily trafficked by like the illegal immigrants, so we don't get a lot of them because there's just nothing in our valley to attract them. I mean, it's all farms and cattle ranches here. There's no work to be had anywhere near here. So they're all to the west of us, more towards Tucson. But we do get a lot of the dopers, and a lot of the drug smugglers do use our valley to ply their trade. Now, the one thing I will say about the dopers, obviously I'd rather not have them, but given the two, I would rather have the dopers than the illegals, because the dopers, at least they stick to themselves. They don't want to be noticed. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. So they pretty much leave us alone, and we leave them alone. And if they get out on the freeway and have a shootout with the cops, well, so be it. And then you can pretty much set your calendar by it. About every 5 years, we'll get a group of meth heads that will move in. And, they'll be here for 6 months to a year until they either move on or kill themselves off. And so they're kind of a pain in the ass. But other than that, no, we really don't.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And once in a while, a Democrat will move in, but they don't last. So.
Ew, icky, there's dirt here.
Yeah. The last one that we had move into the area, he came by and introduced himself to my neighbor behind me and flat out introduced himself and said, "Hey, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden." This was back before, when Joe Biden was still running. And my neighbor John said, "Well, okay, you're not gonna fit in real well here, but do what you got to do." And then he proceeded to tell my buddy John, don't shoot the snakes when you run across a rattlesnake or whatever. Don't shoot it. Just bring it over to me. No, rattlesnakes inside the fence line get dispatched pretty quick.
I could see the guy trying to pick it up with his hands.
I don't know what he was planning to do with them, but he used to feed we have a lot of javelina around here as well. For those of y'all that aren't familiar with them, they look like a wild pig, but they're actually a member of the rat family. But they're just destructive as hell. And so he used to put food out for them like an idiot. But whatever. I think he's gone now. I haven't seen his car for a while, so.
Well, that's a good thing. All right, I got one final question for you. It's probably the toughest question I'm going to ask. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
That is a communist plot.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Pineapple does not belong on pizza. Pizza needs to be cheese and meat and hot peppers, and you want to throw some olives or mushrooms and onions on there, fine, but cheese and meat and yeah.
See, I knew there was a reason you and I got along.
Yeah, well, right thinking people,
Of course. All right, so we're done with the interview part, so we can get on to the rest of the show.
Okay.
This first one, excuse me, money for mass shooting victims directed to Somali-linked nonprofits. Well, that's where it should be going, right?
Well, absolutely, yeah.
This is from News Nation. Lewiston, Maine. Survivors and family of victims from Maine's deadliest mass shooting say they were promised 100% of donations would go to them, but discovered a year later that nearly $2 million was instead distributed to 29 nonprofits, including organizations serving immigrant communities and one facing fraud allegations. The Maine Community Foundation established the Lewiston Auburn Area Response Fund after an October 2023 shooting at a bowling alley that left 18 people dead and 13 wounded. Victims of the family members say that they were told repeatedly that all donations would go directly to survivors and families. An email from the Maine Community Foundation stated the fund was created to help ensure survivors and victims know that 100% of all donations go to victims and survivors of this tragic event. Amy Sussman, whose nephew Max was killed in the shooting, investigated the fund's distribution a year later and found $1.9 million went to nonprofits rather than victims. 9 of the 29 organizations that received funding serve only immigrant communities, including Empowered Immigrant Women Unite, Generation Noor, New Mainers Public Health Initiative, the Somali Bantu Community, and Gateway Community Services. Gateway Community Services, which received $65,000 from the fund, has been accused of misusing taxpayer funds and was recently visited by Homeland Security investigators following the News Nation reporting. So what do you think of all that?
That's a mouthful. First off, number one, okay, so why would these nonprofits even try to give money to immigrant organizations when the money was specifically designated for shooting victims?
Well,
how could they even be that stupid to think that they even could get away with something like that? Number one.
I've been guessing that they've probably been doing this for a while and didn't think anybody was going to figure it out.
Yeah. Number two, you look at my former home state, Minnesota, and it has a climate similar to Maine. Okay, you think their brains might be frozen? I mean, is this a northern thing? Do you think that finally, after a period of time, that the winter weather just kind of flatlines the brain waves and this happens? There's no other way that I can justify any of this happening.
Other than the people that took the money are evil?
Yeah. Well, they're all Satanists, bro. They just are.
I really don't have a doubt about that. Since we're talking about stuff like this, a Democrat candidate in Florida's 16th congressional district race created and registered a website falsely portraying Republicans as Nazis, using his home address for registration. Now, that is a stupid move. The domain forwards to Nazi content, which he shared to accuse Republicans but failed to delete, leading to his exposure. I'm just wondering if can we stop with the Nazi stuff already?
Yeah, number one, stop with the Nazi stuff. It's getting old and it's becoming meaningless,
Yep.
And number two, so this Democrat does this and leaves their home address as the registration address for this domain.
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
It goes to prove that these people are all retarded. They just are. And I don't mean that in the pejorative sense. I mean that strictly clinically. They have a IQ of less than 80.
Well, I got to agree with you on that one. All right, we'll be moving on. Oh, this one's good. This is the green, pink, and blue hair crew was treated to some long-winded, gas-filled speeches this Sunday night. Where, you ask? The Golden Globes. Some celebrities donned anti-ice pins at the Golden Globes on Sunday in tribute to Renee Good, who was shot and killed in her car by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Minneapolis.
Okay, wait a minute. Pause right there. She was not killed by ice, okay? That was a suicide by TikTok. That's what that was. She was not killed by ICE. She committed suicide by TikTok.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. The black and white pins displayed slogans like "Be Good" and "Ice Out," introducing a political angle into the awards show after last year's relatively apolitical ceremony. Mark Ruffalo, Wanda Sykes, and Natasha Lyonne wore the pins on the red carpet, and other celebrities were expected to have them on display as well. Here's a thought. Don't try to run over cops and no one gets killed.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I didn't see any of these people protesting over this, what was her name? Irina Zaruski. She was the Ukrainian refugee that got stabbed to death on the train.
Oh, in North Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, and none of these same people were out protesting for her, so, what's the deal there?
Were they, let me ask you this, were they out protesting, against the Iranian regime this weekend, protesting the mullahs and kill the Ayatollah? Were they out, promoting that cause too? I mean, they throw gay people off of buildings. Or is it only in America where this is a problem?
Yeah, for some reason, it's conveniently only in America where it's a problem.
Yeah. While we're on the subject, what is the Golden Globes? I always thought it was like some kind of porn awards or something, but apparently I got that wrong.
No, you have it pretty much right. Golden Globes, I think it covers like TV and movies and maybe stage. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But it's just 2 hours of celebrities, sniffing their own farts.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I remember hearing about it even as a kid, and I never knew what it was. So I always thought, like I say, it was like the porn awards or something.
Well, it could go away entirely, and I really wouldn't care.
Yeah.
This one comes from the AP. It's, how do you say this? Quito, Ecuador. 5 human heads were found hanging from ropes on a beach in southwestern Ecuador, police said on Sunday, as the country reels from a wave of violence related to drug trafficking. Images published by Ecuadorian media outlets showed the bloody scene. Next to the heads was a warning sign directed at alleged extortionist of fishermen in a small fishing port of Puerto Lopez. The ropes were fixed to wooden poles on the beach. A police report attributed the incident to a conflict between criminal groups, drug trafficking networks with links to transnational cartels are active in the area and have used fishermen and their small boats for their illicit activities. The only thing I could see out of this is we could probably use more of this here.
Yeah, well, the first question is, did the heads at the time that they belonged to somebody, did they belong to dopers? And if so, why, who cares?
Yeah, I don't think it was the dopers. I think it was the farmers that they're fighting with.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's a problem, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, this kind of reminds me of like the pirate days when they'd hang the pirates outside the port so everybody could see that they don't like their kind there.
Yeah. I know we've got a little city. Well, it's not so little. I guess it's about 100,000, maybe more, south of the border, just south of here, 50 miles from here, and it was one of the main smuggling points for El Chapo. This is where a lot of his tunnels started in that city, Agua Prieta, it's called, and came across the border there. And after he got hustled off to Colorado, I believe he is now at the Supermax, the cartels from over on the Gulf started coming over, and they had a big bad war going on down there between a couple of the different cartels, and nobody really cared.
Yeah,
I mean, there were
if
there
they're
were cartel guys washing up in the gutter for about a year and a half, and we were all just cheering them on.
yeah, if they're killing each other off, that's all the better.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've had enough of this nonsense, so let's go to some other nonsense. It's time for Weird News.
It's time for Weird News.
This is from UPI, January 13th.
So
Authorities...
what we were talking about with the heads on the beach in Ecuador, that wasn't weird?
You got to understand the way I pick these.
Okay, bring it on.
All right. Well, actually, this week's Weird News isn't really that weird. I couldn't find anything that was really sort of outrageous, but typically we have some pretty crazy stuff. Authorities in Missouri said the multiple monkeys on the loose in St. Louis have been joined by a wayward goat, and attempts to find the animals are being hampered by AI. The St. Louis Department of Health confirmed a black and white goat has been seen wandering loose in the city, where at least 4 vervet monkeys were spotted during the weekend. Officials said that they are still trying to determine the origins of the animals, and they are asking for assistance from anyone with information about where the monkeys or the goat came from. Willie Springer, a spokesperson for the health department, said the search for the animals has been further complicated by photos on social media that turned out to be generated by AI. It's been a lot in regard to AI and what's genuine and what's not, Springer told Fox 2 News. People are just having fun. Like, I don't think anyone means any harm.
Well, you know, when the AI generates a monkey with 6 fingers on a hand or 8 fingers on a hand, it's pretty obvious that it's generated and not real content. First off, these aren't the monkeys that they had injected with like AIDS and stuff, are they?
No, this is another
different monkeys.
Yeah, this is a different crew of monkeys.
So we're like getting overrun by monkeys. That's what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
It's not AI that's going to kill us. It's the monkeys.
Oh yeah, it's going to be like Planet of the Apes. They're going to take over.
Okay. Well, you know, tell your kids, keep your monkey at home, kids.
Yep, and if he gets out of hand, don't spank your monkey.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, this one's from the AP as well, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A packed crowd celebrated the much maligned but enduring mullet hairstyle Monday in a contest at the Pennsylvania Farm Show in Harrisburg. The short in the front and long in the back hairdos, once the I can't read. They write this stuff so bad. Once the province of Canadian hockey players and their hair metal bands. It attracted about 150 competitors and the more than thousands of spectators for the day's main attraction. The top award, in the form of a rear bumper of a Corvette, I guess that was the trophy, went to 10-year-old Drew Fleshcut of Dallas, Pennsylvania, who wore a red and black shirt in homage to movie character Joe Dirt and carried Joe's trademark mop. Contestants were evaluated for the style of their cut, any props or accessories, their presentation, and their overall sense of commitment, said Judge Brittany Goldberg. How far have you fallen if you're judging a mullet contest?
Hey, man, mullets are great.
No, they are, but to be a judge at a contest for them?
Well, yeah.
It says there were magic tricks, customized T-shirts, and even a skullet. In case you're wondering what that is, it's a mullet sported by a balding man. One kid didn't want to leave the stage. Another took the occasion to pick his nose. Some danced the worm, some dabbed, and a few ripped off their shirts pro wrestling style. Well, that sounds like a good time had by all.
You think there was any beer involved?
Beer?
No, man. I don't know if you... do you remember back in it would have been the early 2000s, there was a website called Mullets Galore. It doesn't exist anymore, but I'm sure you could find it out on the Wayback Machine. And the whole purpose of this, it was like a People of Walmart type website. And it was just photos of all the greatest mullets in the whole country. It was an awesome site. they had the midgy mullets, these midgets that had mullets, and the dyke mullets, and it was like the greatest mullet website ever.
That sounds pretty awesome. I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
look that up.
Yeah, like I say, go check the Wayback Machine and look for Mullets Galore, it was called.
All right, I will do that for the next show. And finally, in weird news, he's tremendous. People are saying he's the greatest ever. I am impressed. These are just a few of the things fans say about Ryan Chin, the Chinese Trump, who has taken social media by storm with his uncanny impersonations of the U.S. president. The chubby architect has Trump's verbal and physical tics down pat, clocking up several million followers by letting his inner Donald loose on everyday Chinese life. Part of the charm of Chin's shtick is that he avoids satire. He's not nasty, as Trump might say. Instead, he just goes with the ridiculousness of Trump running riot in China. Forever on the lookout for merchandising and real estate opportunities. I'm not into politics, but I think he's a very good entertainer, Chin said of the American president. In one video, Chin talks about the Great Wall of China as Trump's, "It's built to keep out the Mexicolians." I found that part pretty funny. Trump is an endless well that never runs dry, Chin told AFP in his hometown of Chongqing in southwest China.
See, I mean, it's like I've always been saying, all humanity, I mean, we all want the same thing, we all want to be entertained by the Donald.
or a fat little Chinese guy.
Or a fat Chinese guy if you can't afford the real thing,
There you go. Well, that pretty much does it. I want to thank you, Einor, for filling in here and being a guest host. We'll have to have you back again one of these days because you did a really great job, and I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's been a good time.
Is there anything you want to plug or talk about before we get out of here?
Not that I can think of. Hey, y'all just, if you're not familiar with it, get out to the Outdoor Trading Post and let us know who you are and say hi and be as obnoxious as you want out there. And there you go.
And you'll fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, it's been a fun show. I want to thank you for listening. Again, you can always reach us at Denton and Sass Show at gmail.com, or you can find us on X, that is at Denton and Sass. I'm totally losing my words because I didn't write down my little ending saying. So I will just say, remember to watch your six, be nice to everyone, and don't ever take any crap from anybody. Have a good night.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Exactly. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time. See ya.
Take care now.